Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by big4accountingfirms.com and the Big Four Accounting Firms YouTube channel. Before we get started, just wanted to remind everybody to support us if you have a chance or if you can. Even $1 helps, and we have a link in the description to a website called Buy Me a Coffee. It's just a way to donate to us and support us. Again, any amount is helpful so that we can keep putting out content. And there's also other ways for you to support us in the show notes to this podcast or on YouTube in the description.
Today's podcast, we're going to be talking about news out of EY. There's pretty big news about them opening up an office. It's very confusing to consider everything that's going on, what offices are open, what aren't. But EY has had their offices open for a little while, but they're opening up their brand new offices in New York as of today, July 19th. And this will be their new U.S. headquarters at 1 Manhattan West. And it'll be the first day that UI professionals can start occupying this new office. And I'm reading from the press release here, located in the Manhattan West neighborhood near Hudson Yards District. And this whole Hudson Yards area of New York is, there used to be nothing there almost except for the Javits Center. And now there's tons of buildings, and it's a whole tourist destination, place to take your Instagram photos and whatnot. And it says that there's more than 12,000 EY professionals call New York City their home office. And this is just probably because of the surrounding areas too, New Jersey, Long Island, etc. Because it's kind of crazy if you think about EY, 12,000 EY people commuting into this office. There's just no way that's going to happen. And Kelly Greer, who's the EY US chair, said, opening our offices at 1 Manhattan West marks the beginning of a new era for us in New York City. Large employers have long played a critical role in driving economic growth, and that's become even more important as we look ahead to navigating the future of work in post-pandemic world. We recognize this responsibility and looking forward to welcoming our people to 1 Manhattan West and supporting the city's ongoing revitalization. It's kind of funny. They invested in this project a long time ago. I remember speaking about this on the podcast, probably when the podcast started. And it's like coming to fruition during the worst time ever in the pandemic, and where everybody else is moving out of New York and opening offices in Florida and other cities. I'm not sure how well EY is going to do with revitalizing, and I'm not sure how many of the employees are actually going to go into the office. But I'm sure EY is definitely encouraging their employees to go into the office in New York because they're spending a ton of money. This is like a premier location now. And it seems like they have other projects that are going to be going on at this place, at this new location, because they're extremely invested in revitalizing New York. And these things include co-chairing the New York Jobs CEO Council, a collaborative effort to prepare 100,000 New Yorkers in low-income diverse communities for the future of work. They're going to be launching the EY Entrepreneurs Access Network, a business accelerator to support Black and Latinx entrepreneurs across New York as they scale their companies. And as you know, because EY does their entrepreneur awards, that they're very invested in getting involved in the entrepreneur community. And EY will also team with the New York City Department of Small Business Services through the NYC consulting and connecting EY consultants with Black small business owners citywide. So part of their thing is they're going to be doing various small business stuff, but they're also going to be promoting social justice. And I'm sure part of it is doing it out of the good of their hearts, but I'm sure also they're going to get various credits from the city. And it says that 1 Manhattan West is the largest of several EY offices across the New York City metro area, including a location in Hoboken, and EY Wave Space Growth and Innovation Centers in Union Square and Chelsea. And as we know, the EY used to have the Times Square office building it's kind of insane to have an office in Times Square, but this is going to be the main location now. And main thing to note here is that EY is heavily invested in New York and office space in New York, and we'll see whether that pays off. But I also anticipate in the coming years that they're going to divest from New York. It's just too expensive, and I think just the way people work I think a lot of people are going to be moving away from New York City, especially as the benefits aren't as great as they used to be. But I mean, there's still plenty of global headquarters there, but I don't think there's a reason to have tons of office space in New York like it used to be, and especially of this size. One Manhattan West, I mean, this is a humongous location, and NY has a lot of employees, but I'm not sure how many are going to be going into the office. But it's very interesting. And it'll be interesting to see. It took years and years and years to get to this point. Like I remember when they announced this, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes for them from this location and what happens. But they stuck with the transaction. I mean, I guess they didn't really have a choice, but it'll be interesting to see how many people actually go into this office, and how the future of work is actually going to take place at the Big Four accounting firms. We know that PwC, because of news earlier this year, was trying to get rid of their office space in New York, but EY is completely invested in it. So you have two different strategies, the Big Four accounting firms, and the way that they approach where they're going to work and how they're going to work. So we'll make sure to keep an eye on that. So that's the podcast for today. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast to get future updates. Support us financially through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the show notes if you can. And if you can't, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Big Four Accounting Firms. Thanks for listening.